couple of things, and one of these, by the way, is this will go into one of the points that I have for you guys, because I look at this time of the year. Granted, there's going to be fewer people answering the phone, so we've got to make, Riva, every call matter, right? Okay, like we need, Deanna, to make sure that these calls have an impact, and not just like for the next 2 weeks, for like all of 2026. And when I think about, I just had a conversation with Nazar. My salesperson was on a call, and I'm walking by, and how many of you guys have ever had one of those like calls that you're like, dear Lord, the plane is crashing. I should jump out. I don't have a parachute, but it's okay. Right? Where you're just like, oh no. Anyone ever had one of those calls? I'm walking by this morning, Nazar, and I'm like, holy shit, dude. Like, this is not going good. let me hop in. Let me grab him. It was Scotty Compa, Nazar. Right? He was on a call with Scott Compa, and you know how Compa is. And so it was super fun. I got a chance to talk to Scott. For those of you that don't know Scott Compa, one of the great agents from the Tom Ferry days, when I coached there. And I started thinking about what really makes a great salesperson, whether it was Nazar, who I think is a fantastic salesperson, world class, Tommy Toole, Brian Oliver. I mean, I could go through a list of individuals. And for me, I think one of the primary components is this word, authority. Are they an authority? Do they speak in a manner that is energetic? Sure, but that they sound like an authority, right? Because what I just did this for you. I want to remind you guys. No. Just keep this on my desk. When two people meet, it's the one that shows the most certainty, aka authority, in the situation, that will have the greater influence over the other. Please write that down. Okay? Lucy, you meet someone, they talk definitively. There's a certain tone that they actually have. Riva, they know their shit. Do you feel more certain about them and about the recommendations that they're making? Yes or no? If Lucy, they're like, their tone is really strong. They really back it up with data. They're able, they're in control. Like, how many of you guys have had a salesperson that is like, speaks in that manner, speaks in that way, and like you went, okay, I can trust them on what it is that they're recommending me to do, just by a show of hands? Yes. Okay, good. I love it. And by the way, Nazar, you do this naturally, or it's been by design and by repetition. Okay. And this is why, Riva, like if you look at what you can do to drive authority, and I think that all of us need to be able to do this, because knowledge equals confidence, right? And confidence equals certainty and authority. Knowledge equals confidence. You may want to write that down, John. John, by the way, great to see you, dude. Knowledge equals confidence. And that confidence equals certainty and authority. Let me ask you this question. As Nazar was saying, if in your voice you upswing, go up like this, if in your voice or your dialogue you're not very in control, you're not very systemic, what will that create for the client, the buyer, the seller, the person that you're sitting in front of, the person that you're on the phone? If they're feeling a lack of certainty in what you're telling them and what you're talking about and what you're recommending, what will they do? This would be the part you guys unmute yourself and you talk and we have an open dialogue.
Question you.
They'll question you. You got it, Rochelle. They'll question you. They'll question your recommendation. They'll come up with objections, right? They'll push back. Does that make sense, guys? Yes or no? Okay. So when I look at one of the primary drivers of influence, it's, can you position yourself as an authority? So how do you do that? Number one, and by the way, as you're making calls, before we jump into this, I want to share something with you guys. I've been promising you we would see a little bit more favorable market when it comes to rates. I said, keep an eye this week on some key data numbers. Keep an eye on the jobs report. Keep an eye on inflationary numbers. Does anyone know what happened this week? Has anyone really been digging? And by the way, Emily, this is why I demand of anyone that we coach that you're spending, Deanna, 15 minutes a day studying the national market, right? Because you've got to have that information, that data, right? That belief to be able to actually share with people. And because if you're not convinced, you won't be convincing. Anyone know what happened this week? What's the numbers that came out? I'll share it with you right now. Okay. And
unemployment.
What's that?
Unemployment.
Now, unemployment it was an odd bag of tricks, right? Okay. One number came in softer, the other came in stronger. It was almost like a wash. Okay. However, unemployment rate, please write this down, was 4.6%. Deanna, so what? Who cares? Okay, 4.6%. Why does that matter, Candace? Well, it's the highest rate of unemployment in 4 years. Okay. And if we have a weak jobs market, then the mortgage market, the bond market has a tendency to perform better. Okay. And so subsequently, Deanna, we've actually seen rates be more favorable over the course of this week. Okay. Number two, you had the CPI reading come in. I had it over here someplace. Hold on one second. CPI came in at 2, which is inflation, came in at 2.7 versus 3.1. Great number for us, right? Inflation is down. Employment is weak. Man, John, that's the perfect storm for lower interest rates. Does that make sense? Okay. Subsequently, this week, in the last 7 days, Lucy, rates have come down 15 basis points, which also represents, Reva, 800 to 900,000 more buyers nationally coming into the market in the next 30 days, Deanna. There you go. Now, when you know that, and I can talk to that, and I can have a conversation with a buyer around that, and I can say, here's what's happened with the market and why it happened. What have I just done?
Given them knowledge, some information.
Cool. I've educated them.
Well, Sean, your authority, your knowledge.
There we go, John. And why is that critical, dude?
Gives them confidence, once again, that you're giving them the right information.
Absolutely. Backing it up by data. So how do we build certainty? We build certainty. And by the way, do you hear the certainty in my voice right now when I'm talking? Right? Do you hear the tone that I'm using? Why is that? Because I know this inside and out, right? I know it up and down, backwards and forwards. I'm studying it every single day. There's no way that anyone's going to challenge me on this and me feel nervous about it. And therefore, hopefully, what that does is translates over into confidence from you guys, both in the information, what you need to do. And by the way, this right here is exactly the conversation that I think you need to be having with all of your leads. Hey, listen, Deanna, I've got some really important information. I promised you that I would actually give you a call should there be any type of changes that took place in the market that could positively impact you, right? Or have an impact on our strategy. Do you have 2 to 3 minutes? That's all I need. Yeah, Bill, I do. Did you see what's happened this week in terms of interest rates? Have you been keeping an eye on that? No, I haven't. Well, 2 things occurred. Number one, the jobs report came in with unemployment being the lowest that it's actually been in 4 years. And number 2, inflation is down to 2.7%, outperforming expectations. Do you know the impact that's had on interest rates? No, I didn't. It's dropped 15 basis points, right? Right. That's exciting because we're now at 6.24, 6.25. Okay. I'm sort of curious with all of these changes, right? What impact does that have on your focus to be able to ultimately move forward? And what questions do you have? All right. Okay. Now, I deliver that knowledge equals confidence for them to move forward, right? That knowledge equals confidence in me. Nazar, anything you want to say about that? Because this is something that I think that you have, when I put you on stage, when I've had you talk about what agents need to do to succeed, when you've actually poured into audiences, right? There's a certain level of conversation and certain style that you have that is very direct and very authoritative. Would you share with them how you developed that, how that came about? What did you do?
Well, I'll tell a quick story. So this morning or last night, I had a friend of mine that reached out to me and said, "Hey, I would love to play some racquetball." And the person I don't know pay with isn't available. Are you able to play? And I said, "Sure." I haven't played in years. So I went there this morning. It was just one-on-one. It wasn't, we weren't playing doubles. And I crushed this person. And it's interesting to me because the natural reflexes, the what's that called? Like muscle memory. Just like my first game, I didn't do great, but every single game after that, like the score was like 2-15, 3-15. Like I just was, I won every single game. And, you even mentioned this, like, "Oh, Nazar, you're just natural." There's nothing natural about it. Sales is not a natural thing. It is a learned skill. You might look at my day, 5,000 or whatever day it is right now after 20 years of doing this, and you might be like, "Oh, Nazar he just exudes this." No, I don't. Wasn't great at it in the beginning. And the only way you get better at it is by freaking practicing with any single thing that there's out there to do. And the thing that drives me nuts is that agents will do it once and will be embarrassed and will suck at it. And because of that, they won't do it again. Yeah. Versus the ones that say, "I'm going to embarrass myself in front of everybody, and that's okay, because this is what I want to do. And by doing it over and over and over and over again, I'm going to get really good at it." And I love what you said, Bill. Like, I might not know all the stats. And when I ask agents, I'm like, "Hey, how many homes have sold last month in your area? How many homes are available for sale?" And when their answer is, and then they give me some like random, BS number. And you even do that to me. Like when you ask me for my numbers and I give you some stupid answer versus saying 224, like very clear, because then with clarity comes confidence. Totally. With clarity comes the ability to be able to say, "Hey, this is exactly what happened." And you can speak authoritatively that way. And so therefore you can like give that person that feeling of comfort because they're looking for you to hold their hand. Yeah. But if you're shaky, they're not going to want to hold your hand.
Yeah. And ultimately what you're talking about, Nazar, is that certainty is influence. Like that's where influence exists. When you can remove doubt and replace it with certainty, you have influence on another human being at that point, right? All lack of influence comes from a lack of confidence and a lack of certainty. And really, I've said this over and over again. What we sell is not real estate. We sell certainty. I want you to write that down, if you would, please. What we sell is we don't sell real estate. We sell certainty. Certainty that this is the right home. And it clicks all the buttons, all the boxes. Certain that this is the right time in the market to be able to buy, or a good time. I'm safe to do it. Andrew, certain that this is the right price for me to list my home at, right? Like that, all of that, and that comes from your knowledge base and your repetition. Now, I'm not sure. There's two different programs that are out there. One's called Shiloh. The other one's called Maverick. Both of them are fantastic. Either one of them is good. You can't go wrong with Peter with either one of them. They are both they both have what's called a sales coach. Okay. And when Nazar talks about, Lucy, repetition, right? The way you get good at something is repetition, right? How do I know this data? Well, A, I study it, but B, I preach it all day. Does that make sense? And within 2 or 3 repetitions, Deanna, it's in my head, right? 4.7% in terms of the current unemployment rate, 3.7 in terms of the current unemployment rate, or 2.7, sorry, right? It's just there, right? Because you only have to go through it and have like 4 or 5 repetitions of it, and you got it. Shiloh and Maverick, what's the hardest part about role play, guys? Like, honestly, what is the hardest part about role play? I've done thousands of hours of role play myself. What's the hardest part? And it's probably not what you think. It's probably not the answer that you're thinking.
I say the closing part.
The closing part? Okay, good. I love that. Anybody else?
Sounding
The
silly.
doing part.
How about trusting that your partner is going to show up for the role play every single day and that you're actually going to role play and not bullshit with each other and talk about the newest program on Netflix? How about that? That's the hardest part, right? Is making sure. So when you have an AI person that you're role playing with, A, they always show up. B, they're not bullshitting with you talking about anything else. And C, you're getting loosely valuable feedback from them. Make sense? So if I'm looking at one piece to add to my tech stack, if I'm an agent in 2026, if I don't have it, it's adding in an AI role play piece, whether that's Maverick or whether that's Shiloh. Now, since you guys are basically on this call, Nazar, anyone that wants that, I think we've got a discounted rate that we get through our company with Maverick. All that you need to do is reach out to Nazar or his team, and we'd be more than happy to be able to actually put you in contact with them. We like Maverick. We think the design is a little bit better, but Shiloh's fantastic. Both Justin and Gabe on each side of the aisle have done a wonderful job. Okay, so that would be the addition. That's how you get your repetition. That's, I can't call Reva at 4 p.m. because I've got some downtime and go, hey, Reva, you want to role play? The chance of her answering the phone, not being busy, whatever, is really minimal. But what I can do is take my phone and freaking go in, and on Maverick, I can say, I want an irate buyer. I want them to be analytical, and I can actually hit all of these buttons, and I can build out the profile of the person that I want to call. Is that badass, guys? I mean, you don't have, I can't go through my phone and go, I'm looking for an analytical person that can pretend to be irate, whatever, right? I can do that with the AI. So that's how you get the repetition. How you get the knowledge is on your own for 10 to 15 minutes a day. I've just hammered that over and over. Now, last but not least, let's go back to this. Where the hell? It's funny, Nazar, that you even brought this up today. Let's go back to the basics. Let's go back to the fundamentals. Let's remember what it is that communication exists in. 7% of what you say are the words. How do we get comfortable with the words? We do them over and over again. AKA Maverick, AKA Shiloh. Tone. How do I change my tone? The easiest way to change your tone is have confidence in what you're talking about. Period. John, it's the craziest thing. John, what's something that you love, something that you like, something that you do often, something that you know really well? And it can't be real estate for you and Tammy.
As often as we can, we like to travel.
Travel. Okay, cool. Awesome. When you talk about travel, does it light you up? Do you get excited?
Yeah.
Okay. Does your tonality change?
Yes, I'm sure.
100%. Are you more enthusiastic? I guarantee you are. Andrew, what about you, stud? What's something that you love to do?
Well, John took mine, but no, I would say travel. I like to hike, and it's kind of weird, but I like to just drive around in different areas that I don't know since I just moved.
Where'd you move to? Cincinnati?
Denver.
Oh, you just moved from Cincinnati to Denver, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, much better hiking in Denver than Cincinnati, right?
Significantly, yeah.
Significantly, unless you're going all the way east to the Red River Gorge or Red River Valley to do some rock climbing over in whatever. So yeah. All right. So when you talk about hiking, I guarantee you your tone changes, guys. Now, I can drive tonality by knowledge, but I can also drive tonality by using my body. Does that make sense, guys? You got to get back to some of those basics, some of those fundamentals, the smile, the nodding of your head. It's so fun for me because I watch my salespeople, which we have 5 of them right now. I watch them go through what they're going through. I watch them not smiling. I see them making the mistakes that every single agent makes, right? If you smile, you sound more attractive. If you stand up, you sound more powerful. Write that down. If I smile, I'm more attractive. I have more energy, right? If I stand up, I sound more energetic as well and more powerful. If I nod my head, I sound and feel more confident. If I karate chop, I sound like an authority. Right? John, remember that? We need a sales power in 2026 someplace. Hey, Nazar, we should do a 5 only 2-day sales power someplace in the nation. Would that be fun?
So like one thing that I told my team this, but I think it's good to reiterate here is practice does not make perfect. Because if you practice, but where you're practicing is wrong, then you'll just continue to build bad habits. You have to have
100%.
practice with correction. And so I think that's why it's important to be able to practice with somebody so that they can then critique and give you advice on, hey, you said this, or you keep on saying this, or sometimes it's having someone else tell us that we say the word too much, or we have filler words, or we have RBF, right? Like whatever it is, it's good to have someone give us the exposure, or like telling us what they want, or just even record yourself and then listen to yourself do a pitch.
Yeah.
And you'll be like surprised of how much room for improvement there is.
And by the way, I will go back to this again, Nazar. I agree 100%. Yet some of you have heard me say this. Butch Harmon. Does anyone know that name? If you ever studied golf, ever followed Tiger Woods before he had his meltdown, right? Okay. Butch Harmon was Woods's swing coach. Probably one of the greatest golf coaches ever in the history of golf. And he said the greatest invention for golf, what do you think it was? It was the video camera. Because the minute that you could see your swing and they could show someone what they were doing, Deanna, people would begin to correct it. They could tell them over and over again, but being able to see it, just like us. Reva, you ever recorded yourself and gone, do I sound like what? Do I really sound that way? Any of you guys ever done that before? You're like, fuck. You like record it 6 times to try and sound like different. Okay. Hey guys, this is why I love AI role play. I'm just going to go back to this because if I rely upon a human being, I'm relying upon their depth of knowledge, and I'm also relying upon where they are that day, emotionally, energetically, and their focus. Okay. If I'm using Shiloh or I'm using Maverick, guys, it will give me a report. It will rate my call. It'll tell me what I did right. It'll tell me what I did wrong. It'll give me recommendations on what to be able to improve, right? It is the most, literally, the most robust, those two programs. If you want to get really good, you say, Deanna, I'm going to take this one script and I'm going to role play it. The only thing that they don't have, it's in beta right now. Both of them is a listing presentation role play, but they're both working on it right now. That pretty soon you'll be able to actually jump in and do a listing presentation. We'll critique it and tell you. But for follow-up calls, past client calls, expired calls, for sale by owner calls, lead follow-up calls, objection handlers, it absolutely, and it goes, hey, Reva, you got a 7. And here's what you can do to move it to a 10. That's what Nazar is talking about, so that you can turn around, correct it, and bring that to role play the next time. Okay. By the way, guys, that's how you become great. Repetition, insight, awareness, and change. All right. Okay. How you become an authority is knowledge, repetition, then the awareness. Right. So, all right, guys. As we wind down here, I'm glad we got to go skills because you guys know me. I love skills. Couple of things that I'm going to say to you here around the holidays. Number one, stay healthy. I know this sounds weird for me to end the call with it today, but I don't want to whatever you got to do, make sure you're staying on your routines. You're eating somewhat good. People always tell me, Lucy, oh my gosh, this is the time of the year that I get sick. Like, have you ever met someone that it's just that time of the year? No bullshit. It's not that time of the year. During the holidays, we have a little bit more stress. We eat a little bit shittier. We drink a little bit more, right? And we get run down. And that's why people get sick. Not because it's this time of the year. Make sure that you're continuing, because the last thing that you want is it's January the 2nd. You're like mentally, yes, but physically drained or jacked. Okay. Number 2, stay on your routines. Stay on the routines that you have. Stay on your workout routines. Stay on your mindset routines. You want to keep that momentum that you've built this year going. You don't want to have sort of a static start come January the 1st or 2nd, Deanna. You want to have a rolling start. I tell you this, January the 2nd, big day of prospecting, big day of follow-up. Why? because it falls on a Friday. Most companies are not having their staff come back. They're giving them a long extended weekend, right? If you're willing to get on the phone on the second, you're going to find more people at home. You're going to have more conversations, right? And people are going to be more receptive. So look at the second not as an extended weekend, but as an opportunity to be able to make those calls. Make sure your business plan is done as well too, guys. Okay. And last but not least, I'll say this. Spend over the course of the next 2 weeks as much time as you can with people you love and with people that inspire you. Families coming in. There's people, you're going to have a little bit more time. Fill it with people that you laugh with, that you profit with, that you grow with, and that you walk away feeling inspired. Does that make sense, guys? Right? So that you can continue that momentum. And I'll say one last thing. Somewhere in this DVD, Nazar at the Superstar Retreat goes to a microphone and talks to Mike and asks him questions. Do you remember that? Okay, I do, because it's in there, right? Okay. And he does not sound like the confident Nazar of today, right? Okay. Anyone can top grade the level of authority that they have with time and pressure on themselves, my friends. And that's what your clients want. They want the alpha. They want the alphat. They want that person to guide them, to lead them, to push them, and to give them direction, right? Be that person for them. Have a wonderful from my family, from myself, from Angie, Liam, Sophia, and Callie, right? And our entire staff and crew here, but especially from our family. We want to wish you guys a very happy holiday season. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. We're so grateful to be on these. I'm so grateful to be on these calls with you. I look forward to us launching the new year with some velocity. We've got a good 2026 ahead of us. So enjoy the time with your family. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, sending you love and joy, right? Thanks again for a great year, Nazar. Thanks for what you do for so many. I think we all owe that man a round of applause for the work that he does and the time and energy he puts in. Rest of you guys, peace out. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Bye-bye, guys.